Okay, well, lucky you. You are on time for the very beginning of season 2 of The Deep End. Every show that gets remembered changes some things. They replaced the Darren. There's some new writer. There's some new character. Elaine shows up. I mean, there's just different things that happen in the course of shows. And we're just going to start with putting the microphone on the table. We're just going to try that. Maybe you'll like that. Well, I'm sure we'll get lots of feedback. Adam is trying to reach it.
Got
There. And are you a guy that points in pictures as if we don't see the other person and cannot figure out that, oh, I'm with Josh Allen. I'm pointing at him because that makes it cooler?
Only when I'm next to Mike Evans stuff at the Hall of Fame. That's the only time.
You point at that so that we know what to look at?
That's right.
Welcome, everybody. The first of our 2 shows this week and every week through the season, March 1st. This is The Deep End. Enjoy. Let's go. I think I love March 1st.
Why?
It ends February, which is it's got to be the worst month. When you live up where we do, Western New York, it's just so gross all the time. It's either impassable or it's all slushy and dirty. There's nothing else in February. Then March comes along, you can think about spring and warmth and maybe, I don't know, the combine.
Yeah, Mike, I drove from Rochester, New York to Disney and back. I didn't see there was not one drop of precipitation for 9 days until I got to Livonia, New York, which is 15 minutes outside of my house. 3 feet of snow. It's a blizzard. I'm like, what am I doing here?
We all say that eventually, but you're a little young to say that. You're a little early to the why do I live like this take. But one reason why we do is, Adam, the big winners in fantasy football keep being from here.
Oh, yeah.
Amazingly, we had the $500,000 main event FFPC winner be 3 guys from Buffalo, one of whom I know. They've been on this show. And then the playoff challenge, the same thing, a different guy from here. Like, is this, I was saying last year, I think I have to upgrade this comp. Last year, it was the San Pedro de Macorís of fantasy. I think it's more than that. I feel like now you really need to be here to expect to win.
Like, this is a hotbed, and we can thank can thank the Bills for that, for being terrible for 20 years. That's all we hit. Like, I watched the Bills. Obviously, I love them, but it's all I had on Sundays was, JP Lossman and my fantasy football team, so that was it. And I think that's a lot of these guys. Yeah. Like you said, the main event champs, the playoff champ for the FFPC, the Draft Sharks guys, Leone. Yep. I mean, it's a hotbed.
Leone. We all got sharp. You're saying that's the theory. That's one working theory right now. We all got sharp during the drought, the Bills drought. Well, whatever it is, it's amazing that both of those champions came from here. Congratulations to them. And so now we're on to 2022. We're doing 2 shows a week, Tuesdays and Thursday nights.
Yep.
Tuesdays more toward the original concept, geared toward the high-stakes player. We'll talk about best ball drafts tonight, what's been happening, some trends, and some strategies. Then Thursdays, starting this week, we will do more of a dynasty focus. I can't wait for that because I've got problems. I mean, I cannot figure out how to make trades this year. I don't know why. It's got to be some sort of a shortcoming, but I haven't figured out what it is yet. And
that'll be fun. We can dive into like real nitty gritty, specific trades, questions, specific draft questions, stuff that we don't have time for in a regular 1 hour episode. When we're covering general topics, right. We can dive into that type stuff.
Challenges make life more interesting. One for us right now is where to sleep in Canton in August. We are on the hotel hunt. We got our expo tickets, but there's no place to stay.
No, it's so we get it. We get our tickets. We get in, right? And, so I got my confirmation. I'm ready to go on. So I run onto the website. All right, let's get our hotels. Cause we went to this last year. We stayed right there, so I go to the hotels. A big sold out next to the DoubleTree Hilton, Heartbreak Hotel. I'm immediately messaging everybody that I know in Canton, which is Bob Lung. and that's it. So
and Mike Evans cleats.
And Mike Evans cleats.
Those are your two contacts in Canton, are Bob Lung and Mike Evans cleats.
And now Josh Allen's cleats. Don't forget about those.
Are they? They're there already? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no. Listen, 4 years, 100 passing, 30 rushing, only guy ever. They're there.
What are these other places? What's the problem with these other places?
We can do it. I just wanted to be like, it's happening at the DoubleTree Hilton, so that's kind of where I wanted to stay.
That was my yearbook quote.
That's where it happens.
It's all happening at the DoubleTree.
Hey, call us. We're always looking for more sponsors. This is brought to you by DraftSharks.com. Yeah, so no, we're gonna get there. We're gonna find. I don't care if we have to sleep in the back of the car.
I care about that.
We'll call Maddie. Maddie, if you're listening, give us a ring. Find us a spot.
The waitress at the steakhouse in where that was like a half an hour away.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure something out, I guess.
We'll figure it out.
Well, I think that's a cool weekend. And if the weather that Saturday night is the same as last year, that's a home run night. I mean, it was great last year to have so many people there, perfect weather outside, Browns in the preseason. If you care, that was pretty good. So I'm excited to go back. I mean, we really didn't do much with the seminars or anything, but they were interesting. I mean, it was mostly about the people, right?
Yeah, it's about meeting all the people. And it seems like this year, I mean, the event's in August and the hotel is sold out in February. Like, pretty good. I think it really took off last year, the Fantasy Football Expo, and I think it's going to be bigger this year. There's a flag football game. I'm offended. Listen, I run. Do I have to start posting flag football highlights to Twitter, Mike? I run leagues all year long. I need to be the 101 in this flag football game. So I'm gonna start posting some highlights.
Well, what happened then? There's a poker game too. Did people that partake in the event that are in the know suggest ideas, and then
I think so.
They said sure.
Yeah, I think it was let's have a flagging because the Saturday night party is at an indoor facility, turf field. So I think they've got plenty of space, and the poker game. I mean, it sounds outstanding. Jayco, Jim Coventry, and I are going to go head to head again.
The rematch, the long-awaited
the rematch between me and Jayco. So. It's going to be a phenomenal weekend. I plan on having a good time.
Okay. So that's in August. We look forward to that, and we'll figure out a place to stay. I'm not sleeping in your car. Now, as for current drafts, why people are here. So rookies are an interesting one, and I'm looking for help on this because I think, the natural tendency is to, like, who are these guys? We don't know where there's a lot of negatives. We don't know where they're going. We don't know if they'll get, picked on the first or second day. We don't know if there'll be a committee. It's hard to come up with too many teams that seem wide open at running back, and more teams are leaning toward committee anyway. And that's just one position. Quarterback, obviously, right now it's hard to. Last year it was easy. There were several, but right now, who is the team exactly? You tell me right now where you want to put your money that will be starting a rookie week 1. I mean, it's not an easy call. So it seems like, especially, Adam, it's a year where maybe you're more conservative on rookies. Tight end is always slow. Running back, a lot of people have different favorites. Does that add up to value or opportunity for drafters who think they know something, have an edge, or even maybe don't care whether they have an edge and just feel like there's inherent value in the rookies? I feel like I've seen some of the data recently that suggests that.
Yeah. So this is a new thing to people who are like just getting into fantasy football, and a lot of this Underdog really helps with that because the drafts are $10. You can compete for $1 million or $500,000 for a $10 entry or whatever. And so this helps kind of the growing fad that is fantasy football, which is excellent. But this is new. This drafting in January and February, this is a new thing kind of to the fantasy football world. And it's great. It's fun. And I say that to say you should only be drafting right now to draft rookies. That's the only reason why I would be in these drafts, these underdog tournaments, the FFPC tournaments, is to draft rookies, because after the NFL draft, the rookies' prices are going to inflate, most of them, right? So like the only reason you should be in here drafting is to draft rookies at below their cost. I mean, you get, and for the most part, it's going to be running backs, right? So Breece Hall is the one that's been going the highest. He's going to RB22 in the underdog drafts, right? ADP 61. I've probably I've done 6 or 7 of these underdogs recently, and I think I've left maybe 5 or 6, 90%, or maybe all of them with Breece Hall, because if he goes to a team that really needs a running back, like let's say Tampa doesn't bring back Fournette, they don't bring back Rojo, Keyshawn Vaughn stinks, they go out and draft Breece Hall, he's a second-round pick or a 2-3 turn pick probably, and you're going to get him in the fifth round, So I would be going into these drafts specifically targeting rookies. Now, I'm not saying reach for them, because that doesn't help, right? But if you go in and like Kenneth Walker, RB 30 going at 96 overall, those are guys I got to leave my drafts with, because if the same scenario happens, if Buffalo or Tampa Bay or something goes and drafts one of these guys day 2, they're immediately gonna skyrocket 3, 4, 5 rounds. So you want to get them now before the NFL draft.
Sure. And if you don't know if the team you want to have draft Breece Hall, say the Buccaneers, has a preference to someone else, then that could work out too. If he ends up in a split situation, maybe like Javonte Williams did for Denver. I mean, in Dynasty, you can't even be that upset that happened in Denver. Or even the idea today that Melvin Gordon, the GM today, talked about getting him back. Like, you still like the player, and running backs are hard to land in Dynasty. So there's that part of it too. But Williams was startable. Talking about best ball drafts, you had some value there with Javonte Williams last year, and that wasn't ideal, even though the team that drafted him traded up to do it, and it seemed like it would be an obvious home run. Darren Armani it's Dwayne McFarland here for me and Darren Armani that I'm thinking of, where Dwayne was setting the table for, running backs. This is when to do it. This is a good way to do it, as you're saying. And then Darren came in with win rates from last year at FFPC, and the only rookie, I think, whose win rates were higher after the NFL draft was Jaylen Waddle, which means if you drafted any one of those guys last year before the draft, like we're drafting now, or after, you were likelier to win. You had a higher win rate for the teams that drafted before, except for Jaylen Waddle, which I don't know if that says anything, but what it says, the bigger sample overall is what you're saying and what we're talking about, which is don't be afraid to do it now. There will be, if this is part of the equation, there will be plenty of veterans that get squeezed out that we don't expect to have happen, and teams will be on rookies. It's more affordable. It's just sort of good business to do that. Those guys are often excellent. So, I'm buying into it. I feel like it's a little bit counterintuitive, especially if you don't do the college game. If you don't, I don't think there's necessarily a benefit, Adam, to scouting Kyren Williams at Notre Dame and having a take on Kyren Williams. But what you want to be, I think, in terms of drafting is sort of willing to accept the randomness and look at the data, and that leads you to, if it's between, or even if it's tilted against the rookie, a rookie versus a veteran guy that you're not that excited about, or there's a question, Leonard Fournette versus Breece Hall, not even whether Breece Hall goes to Tampa. That's side by side in ADP. One guy's much younger, and if a team is in love with him, great. I think the answer is yes to, should we draft rookies a little bit earlier than we do? I think that's the bottom line.
Yeah, and I think too, take advantage of people have been just really taking a dump on this draft class, this 2022 draft class. I mean, I think they've seen, we've seen all these polls recently of like, hey, would you take the 101 this year or a random first round pick in your dynasty league next year? And some people said next year. Like, that's just, it's crazy. This class is not as bad as people make it out to be. There's going to be some hits, and at the running back position, you don't even have to be good. You just need opportunity, right? So you get the right opportunity. It doesn't matter if you think Breece Hall is good or Kenneth Walker or whatever. like if they get the right spot, if the team thinks they're okay and they get the right spot, they're gonna exceed their draft position that people are taking them now. You know, there's some good young receivers that are going, rookies, or soon to be rookies. Some are going, actually the receivers are going a little bit high, some of them for me around players that are going around, like Treylon Burks, wide receiver 34. You know, he's going around like Jerry Jeudy, Hunter Renfro area. Like, I'll take Hunter Renfro and Jeudy over him right now, especially when I don't know where he's landing. And receivers need a little bit more luck. Like, they need to find the right system. They need to find the right quarterback. They need to find a lot more needs to hit for rookie receivers to hit. Whereas running backs, man, if they just get drafted to the right spot, they're gonna do well.
Bottom line is be aggressive, be willing when it comes to rookies. And I appreciate the work Dwayne does and did on this case, and also Darren for showing that, you know, provably. So that's good. Let me share, if you can help me, Adam, the one screen. It's always fun to look back at drafts. This was my first ever rookie draft in the famed League of Shopes and Dreams. I know, Adam, I'm sorry there's not a spot for you at this time. But so 2018 was our startup, and this is 2019. And look at that first round. It's pretty gross. Now, you can draft veterans in this league too. This was our first ever rookie draft for me and several of my friends who are in this. And I mean, it's not terrible all the way around, but, you know, the start of it, N'Keal Harry, of course, guys picking in the top 5. Would you agree? Overall top 6, Murray's a quarterback. First round overall, disappointed with how they
you
did.
Zoom in a little bit, Mike? I my eyes are getting old.
I don't know if I can. How do I do it?
Okay.
Wait a minute. I could go to the other screen. You're telling me that your eyes are getting old. All right. Let's try this.
There we go. Beautiful.
Like how we figured that out.
Josh Jacobs, N'Keal Harry, Montgomery, Miles Sanders, Darrell Henderson, Paris Campbell.
Adam is seeing this for the first time. This is not a league he's in. This is the 2019 rookie draft, and that first round is kind of hard.
Paris Campbell had to be you. I know you're a big Paris Campbell guy.
No, I am. I like him, but no, it was not.
You're not the Van Buren boys?
I am Chesterfield South, and I drafted Hawkinson and then traded him too. But anyway,
go ahead.
The simple point here is this is a draft that this year's draft reminds me of, in terms of how our people are talking about, we didn't really like Josh Jacobs. We don't really like Montgomery. Nobody's ever liked Montgomery. Sanders, you know, there's all these N'Keal Harry, really? Like, there are all these questions about the first round. Look at the second round.
Oh, baby. Metcalf, Haskins, Deebo Samuel, A.J. Brown, Demarcus Robinson, Benny Snell Jr., Arcega Whiteside, Deontay Johnson, Noah Fant, Daniel Jones, Hakeem Butler. Yeah, we'll talk about Daniel Jones more later. Yeah, I mean, I'm still waiting on Hakeem Butler to break out.
Are you? Take another sip. So McLaurin in the third round, Andrews. I'm not trying to cherry pick. It's just a point that you just don't know. And every good fantasy player knows that you just don't know. And in the second round, you had some studs there. I mean, I'm Chesterfield. That was A.J. Brown, Deontay, and Fant, and Madison. I think I might have had 4 of the 6 best picks of the round.
Yeah.
Right there. But I didn't know anything. I wasn't scouting college players then either.
Yeah.
It's just relax when it comes to, I don't know who these guys are. There's all these negatives toward each prospect, and the overall uncertainty. I think we made the point where they're going to go and will their teams ultimately, count on them to be important in their rookie year.
Totally. Yeah, no.
All right. So get after it when it comes to rookies. That's where we ended up.
That's right.
Let's move on. So we want to talk about, you're focused more on Underdog. I've been doing both, but I'm more in the FFPC place mentally. ADPs, except for the tight ends, are probably most of the same, Adam, right?
I'm sorry, what was that, Mike?
ADPs, FFPC versus Underdog, except for the tight ends, really close?
Yeah, the tight ends, quarterbacks have been going, I think, a little bit earlier in the in Underdog. I'm sorry, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. A little bit earlier in the Underdog. Running backs always go earlier in the FFPC. obviously, I mean, you have to start 3 receivers in Underdog, so running backs aren't going to go as fast. And I've been doing more underdogs, to be honest with you, because they fill up so quickly. You know what I mean? I can get in one now, and the draft is ready to roll. So, but obviously, I'll have my money in the FFPC too. So,
well, Underdog, you're talking $10. $10 fills
right.
Quickly, and that's the advantage there. It's like good. It's good practice. Whereas
Sure.
FFPC, you're on 35 or higher, and it's a little bit of a different equation. So,
and plus, I'm more of a live draft guy too. Like I don't like slow drafts, and I feel like FFPC right now is more slow drafts, whereas Underdog you can get into a 30-second per pick one anytime.
Right. I'll be doing that tonight. Except, by the way, I have a baseball deadline at midnight for a roster freeze.
Oh, my baseball deadline. Listen, I wore this in honor of, this season being over before it started. So,
did you win the offseason?
With the roster freeze. I don't even know what the Red Sox did this offseason.
Yeah.
Chris Sale's not leaving. That's all I know.
Whatever they did this offseason, they're still doing it because, take your time.
Right. That's right.
All right. So, and we're on a little bit of a delay here, I think, Adam, but let's just try to press on. We're going into who to avoid, not who to avoid, but we could add that. Who do we like? Who are our preferences in each round of these drafts? We'll go for a few rounds here and see where we agree or disagree. And I think probably you should start because you have been really steadfast about your favorite player on this list.
Yeah, so Christian McCaffrey is a guy I've been taking. I've had the number 1 pick this so far twice, and I haven't had another pick inside the top 7. So I've gone both times I pulled the trigger on Christian McCaffrey. I just feel like we talked about this last time. People have been talking about the last couple of weeks. I just feel like when healthy, and everybody feels this way. I mean, I don't hear anyone argue. Hey, if him and JT both play the same amount of games, JT's going to score more. I haven't even heard that argument. So if Christian McCaffrey is going to score more points, that's the guy I want. And it kind of reminds me of, there was a Twitter discussion. I think Dave Kluge put it out there about, hey, would you rather have a guy play 8 games and score 25 points a game, or you want a full season of 15 points a game? And I know this isn't the exact same thing, but it's, would you rather have a full season of Jonathan Taylor at 21 points or a chance that Christian McCaffrey doesn't get you a full season at 30 points a game or 29 points a game? Because Christian McCaffrey's been a top 5 back every week he's played, with the exception of just a few in the last three years. He's perfect for fantasy football. So I'm going to take that guy every time. So he's a guy I've been targeting in the first round. And if I don't have that, I've been picking kind of towards the back. A guy I've taken a lot of is Najee Harris at 9, 10, 11, because I just think he has a chance at, mega volume again. It's half point PPR. I get it, but the offense can only go up. Even if they get like a Jimmy Garoppolo or whoever the quarterback is, has to be able to move the ball better than Big Ben was doing towards the end there. So I really like Najee, and they have another offseason to improve their offensive line. So he's a guy I've been taking it kind of the back end of the first round.
Quickly on McCaffrey, I've the whole offseason so far, I've liked this argument with McCaffrey, but I'm kind of done with it. I mean, the Colts, there's 100% confidence that the Colts know Taylor is he's their man. He's the man on that offense. And they might even sub out Wentz. But whatever they do at quarterback, they're a little bit forced. And there's no way around Jonathan Taylor being the engine. McCaffrey, what I think helps people who want to rank him like you do is that they moved from Newton to Darnold and changed coaches and still proceeded as if Christian McCaffrey is like the everything of their offense. And I just can't see that happening again. If they go into this season with him, which we're assuming they do, I mean, the contract, he got paid. If he gets traded, then okay, that changes it. But let's say he's in Carolina and we look at it like he's a guy that they're going to want to use because of his investment. That investment is over a period of years. He's broken down 2 years in a row. I don't think the injuries mean he gets hurt again, but I do kind of think they will, from the top down in that organization, who's more important? There's no quarterback in that organization that outranks Christian McCaffrey. They will go slow with him because they want to save face. They want to get 2 or 3 more years out of him on that deal, make it look like it was worth doing. And I think that probably means his usage comes down.
And I've thought about that. I'm okay with that. Like rushing yards and carries mean nothing to me for fantasy football. Like I want red zone touches, goal line touches, receptions, targets, green zone, whatever you want to call it, touches inside the 10. As long as he gets those valuable touches, he may not have the year he had 2 years ago, but I think he'd still certainly clear JT. And if that's what it takes to keep him healthy, fine. I'll take that. I'll take that too.
Well, it'll be very interesting. So you would pick McCaffrey. I know you have been picking him 101 over Taylor. Yeah. And that's not about diversifying your portfolio. That's not, at 101, there's nothing contrarian about it. You're not getting the other guy later. It's all just like you would rather have him in redraft half point this year than Taylor. Bottom line?
Yeah. Bottom line, yes. I don't know how many times I'm going to get a top 2 pick. So when I'm up in there, I want the guy that I think is gonna be the best player. I'll have my Jonathan Taylor shares also if I get the more 101. I don't do I'm not going to do 150 of these or even 150 probably drafts this off season. Maybe I will, but so I'll get a little bit of each if I haven't had a chance to test my theory at the 2, the 3, or the 4 spot to hope that he falls to me there because I haven't gotten those picks yet. But if I do, I will. I'll probably be taking him there too.
The spot that I really don't like in these drafts is 4 or 5. That seems a little bit common year to year, but I can get with McCaffrey in there. I can get to Kupp or even Chase, but I don't really want to do Eckler right now because of possible changes to that offense. There'll be some new weapons in there and nothing down on him, but I just rather not do it. I think if you get me to 6 or 7 and it's Eckler, then I'll do that. The guy on this, he's listed here. The player I'm drafting, it's the way it's worked out. It's happened like almost every time drafting 7 to 12 or 6 to 12. I know I took him at 6 once is Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
I
just big on him.
I think there's the negative argument to each of these guys, or at least after you get past Taylor and maybe McCaffrey or Kupp, is very tough on Tyreek Hill. What is the negative argument on Tyreek Hill? It's an injury. You take that out because that can happen to anybody.
Right.
Off the field, there's that. He had that before, but he even played that year. What is the con argument to Tyreek Hill? So for me, it that makes an interesting point, which is that the right way to look at it? Are you trying to avoid the worst case scenario for each guy? Again, anybody can get hurt, but I have a tougher time comprehending a bad Tyreek Hill season than even Jefferson with a new offense, new coach, maybe new quarterback, or even Kupp. Actually, I don't think I would pick him ahead of Kupp. I don't like to have to make that choice, but I have a lot of Tyreek Hill already, and it's March 1st.
Yeah, the only, Tyreek Hill actually moves up a little bit, on your receiver, on your just a big board because it's half PPR. Whereas, so his strengths are, yards, touchdowns. He's not really necessarily a PPR monster, so he's actually a better pick. The only knock against him would be just roster construction. Like if you want to build with a heavy RB build, you're obviously not gonna take him there or any other receiver there. So that would be. But if you're taking a receiver there, we don't know where Adams is going to be. He's probably going to be in Green Bay. But yeah, he's certainly. What's interesting is I don't think he's finished as the wide receiver 1 ever, which is interesting. But he's he's a lock for the top 5.
Yeah, what's his low?
Not sure.
Okay. I don't know if this is right either. I should know this, but what is the right attitude about round one? I feel like the right attitude about round one is don't get killed.
Right. That's right.
Don't end up with somebody, and running backs have inherent risk. Anybody does. I like the feel of Tyreek Hill there. I feel like I know what that offense is. They didn't win this year. They didn't win last year. I don't see any reason why they would want to slow down on him. I think they might want to finally, at least since Watkins, add another wide receiver. They tried on Juju to sort of cut into that, but there's plenty of room for Tyreek Hill to have the same year, even if they do that.
Yep.
So you want to move on to round two?
Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on to two.
AJ Brown.
Oh,
what? I can't tell if that was good or bad.
That was my guy.
Was it?
Go ahead, talk about him.
I think all the arguments combined that are negative toward AJ Brown, 80 to 90% of them are injuries, which I don't care. I mean, I want to try again. He's such a force. If Henry wanes, or even if he doesn't, but if he does and he can stay on the field, they come back with Tannehill probably at worst. They can make some power play for Rodgers even better, but that's not likely. And A.J. Brown is going to be the number one on that team. And they were the 1 seed in the AFC. There's no way they're not thinking about competing and winning a championship there. So he's the right age, year 4 for A.J. Brown. Like, if he can stay on the field, I think it's just such a high ceiling. I don't think anybody on this list, again, you talked about roster construction. That's right. And so you could possibly want to rule out a wide receiver in this round. But apart from that, he's the guy for me.
Yeah, I love A.J. Brown here. Has a shot at the overall wide receiver 1. I love, year 4, he's a stud. No one denies his talent. The only knock on him is injury. And I just have a thing for guys who I think, and it's hard to, find this stuff out, but when you see clips, like, I really feel like he loves the game. I feel like he loves to play the game. His attitude towards bringing Julio Jones to the team, his attitude towards Elijah Moore when Elijah Moore got drafted. And I don't know if you saw that video, that emotional video of him hugging Elijah Moore and just like being so happy for him and crying with him. I just feel like the guy loves football, and to me that means something. It's a guy that's going to play through everything, and I think he's really, really good. And I think he's my wide receiver in the second round. He's my second round pick. I have taken Kelsey. I do like when Kelsey falls far enough. Maybe that's my FFPC bias there. And I also really like CD Lamb. There's talk of Amari Cooper maybe not being there, not re-signing Michael Gallup. I think CD Lamb's got a chip on his shoulder. I think the whole offense has a chip on their shoulder, kind of the way they went out last year. So CD Lamb could be another guy that can absolutely smash. I'm fine with either one of them. I think Kamara is way too high here, especially with all the stuff surrounding him. Then you got the running backs in here. It depends on roster construction, but yeah, I love taking those 2 receivers.
Running backs are always so easy to doubt. I mean,
yeah,
even without the off the field, it's just my first instinct is on running backs just tends to be why it won't work. Chubb is kind of like he's been this way for 3 or 4 years, where you're like, oh well, Kareem Hunt. Oh, if they get a passing game, different things. Chubb is good, but there's always for me in my mind at that moment there's a reason not to do it, which maybe that's a shortcoming of mine. But Brown, and on Lamb, I just hate that coach. I mean, how was it not when Troy Aikman makes a point and we all go, oh yeah, how bad a job are you doing?
Yeah.
Aikman, who has never said one interesting thing on a broadcast in his career, goes on a radio show after they lose to San Francisco. It's like, oh, well, in my day, not that he was even true, because easily people unearthed that and noticed that it wasn't true. Oh, in my day, we just would have known to throw the ball to Michael Irvin all the time. They didn't even do that. But when Aikman shows you up enlightened, you are not close to doing a good job. So Lamb, everybody loves him as a player. Okay. If they want to let Amari Cooper go, who's been very efficient and good in his career, even though Dallas can't really sort of notice that, okay.
Yeah.
And I like Prescott. Prescott's always been underrated to me, but I don't want to pick CeeDee Lamb thinking there's just too many people there that you just know they're going to make the wrong choice. And even without Jason Garrett, they still managed to be this way. So, he's good, but no. Waddle versus Lamb is a really interesting. I'm not sure I'm that brave, but Waddle, come on, shouldn't I be if I feel this way? Like Waddle, the quarterback wasn't great, new coach there, but the new guy comes in, offensive guy, McDaniel is like, start Jaylen Waddle. He's like pouring all this energy and mojo and life into the idea of drafting Jaylen Waddle. I think he in round 2 is okay. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not there yet on Waddle. I get it. He had 1 million catches and targets, and I could come around to him. If it's, Lamb or Waddle, I'm going to go Lamb. If it's, again, it's my FFPC coming out. If it's Mark Andrews or Waddle, I've seen too many. Now Waddle was drafted very, you have the draft capital and all that, but we'll see with coaching and, Tua will be a big, like if Tua's the quarterback, that's helpful because Tua, can't throw very hard or very far. So Waddle's, they're using Waddle perfectly. They were using Waddle perfectly there. So I can see coming around to him.
Adam got stuck. I'm going to jump in because this is my chance. Adam's falling to the canvas. Waddle didn't even get used the way he could. He's got a whole other dimension, I think, to his game as he showed in college. If the Dolphins emerge as a team that can do more.
Sorry, did I cut out there, Mike?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
We're back. All right, round 3. Don't worry. I finished the Jaylen Waddle. I finished that for you, so don't worry about it. I probably changed everything you had written. All right, round 3, Adam.
Right.
That's right. Go ahead, round 3. Who do you like here?
Yeah, so round 3, round 3, I really, he's going kind of at the turn, the Saquon Barkley. I love Barkley there. I love Gibson in the 3rd. Again, I'm kind of transitioning to the running backs in the 3rd round. I just feel like there's an opportunity for Saquon to get out of New York, especially today. The GM there talking about we'll listen to all offers basically for Saquon Barkley. Even if he stays there, I'm fine with it too there. You were talking about, I think Jared Smola and Dwayne McFarland were talking on Twitter the other day about how, Barkley needs to get involved in the passing game more. He was really good in the passing game, despite him not being really good last year. So Barkley, Gibson, and again, there's that. Is Gibson going to get the full role there? I think to bring back McKissick. I think Gibson's another guy I've been taking in the 3rd round frequently because if McKissick doesn't come back and they don't sign some sort of scat back 3rd down back, I think Gibson's going to shoot like where it was last year at the end of the 1st round. So that's a guy I've been taking here before that happens. And even if it does happen, if McKissick comes back, Gibson's certainly worth a 3rd round pick regardless. So the 2 guys I've been looking at a lot in the 3rd are Saquon Barkley and Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. Well, I shouldn't say it that way. I can't imagine a team trading for Saquon Barkley. I can. It's the NFL. I mean, a lot of teams do screwy things. I can't imagine a team trading for Saquon Barkley. I just don't know why you would. And that's even with the possibility that he still has the same juice as he had at Penn State. But there is a question about that. I am totally on board with you on Gibson. I think he has almost touchdowns in his rookie year notwithstanding. I think he's almost really been at his floor. They want to dress up quarterback. Like the coach and the whole situation there, new name if you want it. Like they have to be ready to fire in Washington. And Gibson is their best guy. McKissick, I mean, he led the league in running back targets 2 years ago. Even with that, Gibson was very useful. So I think there's a higher upside on Gibson, and I want that to be a really good offense. And I think he's good enough to catch the ball more and to play there. Plus, the team I'm drafting tonight, and overall, I'm happy to get Tyreek Hill and A.J. Brown or Diggs or even Adams or Chase or Jeff. I love wide receiver 1-2. And so that kind of forces me to get to Gibson. I could talk myself into Barkley, and I even like Akers. I think, and Adam may have left again, but I think Akers is probably value because in the playoffs he played against tough defenses and coming off an Achilles tear. Like, I know the Rams have moved on from guys pretty quickly, starting with Todd Gurley, but I think there should be some confidence in him organizationally going into next year, and that would make Akers a good play in round 3 in these drafts. So I would be happy to do any of those guys, but usually in these things, I'm finding myself wanting to get a running back in the 3rd round. The next guy down is J.K. Dobbins, and that's okay too. I think with Baltimore, as Adam returns, and with Baltimore, they have yet to really be able to turn to J.K. Dobbins yet. It's his 3rd year in the league, so I would see them wanting to do that. Adam, Barkley, Gibson, Akers, even Dobbins, Zeke you get to eventually. I don't mind any of those guys.
No, I love Dobbins too. I was taking him back in the first couple drafts I did. I feel like I said before, I feel like he's burning a hole in the Ravens' pocket. I think they're going to unleash him. I know Gus Edwards and all those guys. I don't even know if Gus Edwards is back, but they like to have multiple backs. But I think Dobbins is ready. He's going to be ready to roll, and he's a guy I certainly like in the 4th. Yeah, he's going in the 4th. I like going him. I like going. Who else do I like in the 4th round that I've been taking? It's really been a lot of him, and I did take a late 4th round Lamar Jackson last night, Mike, in honor of you. So I got the Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews stack going. So
yeah, a lot of those. I think those quarterbacks in there, Herbert, Jackson, Burrow, in these drafts often come down to stacking and who you want to put them with. And so if you're drafting at the ends, it's easier to arrange that. Herbert and Keenan Allen, Burrow and Chase, Jackson and Andrews, those are the obvious ones. Well, let's talk about if you're able here, Adam, or I don't know if you're falling off the face of the earth, internet-wise. Hopefully not. But can we talk about Travis Etienne?
Sure. He's a kind of a polarizing guy right now.
Why not love Travis Etienne in round 5? Why not? Boy. So yes, new coach, same GM. It's such a dysfunctional organization. I don't even know if I want to care. It's got to be an upgrade. We talked about him last time, right? I mean, explosive player. You're in the 50s to 60s of overall average draft position here. I mean, he's got no tread from last year. He's fine. Robinson tore his Achilles. Man, is it ever not wide open for Etienne with his college quarterback, the best quarterback prospect of all time, under center? Aren't the odds pretty good that they get that enough right to get your value out of Travis Etienne? I'm drafting him every draft pretty much. It's worked out great for me. If you love Etienne, I mean, you're having no trouble.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think he was he was a guy that I loved in college. Not that I was a big college buff, but I really did. This was last year. I really wanted the Bills to take I knew they were looking at a running back or something, so I was really locked in. And I saw him play in the the college playoffs and loved him. And then kind of watching some of the draft nicks out there that do this and kind of look at guys. I know Jay Moyer hated Travis Etienne, absolutely hated him. So I was kind of off him a little bit. They also had another running back there. Well, now you got, was it an Achilles or an ACL?
Yeah, Achilles.
An Achilles. So it's like, that's going to be a problem for Robinson. And no draft capital in Robinson, new coaching staff. So yeah, Etienne could absolutely be a guy that, we're getting him in the 5th now. And, if reports are out that Robinson's going to be on the pup, in like August, then it's like, man, wheels up for Etienne. He could take that over and never give it back.
If you want to do one more round here for tonight, round 6, it will work off of different lists here maybe, but there are just so much range in upside, downside on so many of these guys. With, Michael Thomas is one. You've got a couple of tight ends here in this round. You have running backs. I mean, who are we talking about? CEH would be one in this range. The quarterbacks, of course. The quarterbacks are more if you want to do it. I guess Kyler Murray suffices as a quarterback where you can see different outcomes, a little bit like Watson last year. Do you have a favorite here?
I really like a guy I've been taking in the 6th round. If he falls, is Breece Hall. He doesn't fall generally to me that often when I'm there. I really, really like Hunter Renfro. He had a breakout year last year. They got a coach coming in there now, McDaniels, that is proven to like to use the slot position with the guys with the same kind of profile as Hunter Renfro. Derek Carr has a rapport with him. Generally, when you have these quarterback slot rapports, they generally stick around unless there's other weapons added. I know Boyd didn't have a huge year last year, Tyler Boyd, but they brought in Jamar Chase. They have Higgins. That's not the situation for the Raiders. So I really, really like Hunter Renfro. And another guy I've been taking a lot of is TJ Hawkinson, because I think he's being taken almost like he's the next tier way down, when I think he's right up there with sorry, I'm trying to pull it up here. I think Hawkinson is right up there with George Kittle. I think I have him ahead of Kittle. I have him right up there with Darren Waller, and those guys are being taken rounds beforehand. I mean, Kittle goes at 38. Hawkinson doesn't go till 70. So I'm taking him like every single time, because I think he's up there with those guys that are at 38, 30, 33. I don't have him there with Pitts, Andrews, or Kelsey, but I really like Hawkinson. I really like Hunter Renfro.
Fine on both counts. I like the Renfro argument. Hawkinson I've always liked, and I really don't have a feel for what they're going to be. Like, do they want to be the same as they just were?
Yeah.
Drafting second, there's no quarterback there. They have Goff, who wasn't the worst. Like, do they want to be the same team again? And how do they take a step forward if they want to take a step forward? Is it with Jared Goff? I don't know. Right. I mean, I'm not sure I'll get to that answer, but Amon-Ra, I like him at end of 5. I believe in what he put up, and Hawkinson is fine and Swift is fine. So there's a scenario, I think, where they're kind of interesting on offense, but is that what they want? Do they want to win 6 games? Is it not with Goff? I can't decide yet, Detroit.
Now, my question for you is, do you like Amon-Ra regardless of what they do in the offseason?
Pretty much, yeah. I thought he was great.
Then a guy then I would almost not be drafting him now and just wait for after the NFL draft to free agency, because I think they're gonna add someone significant, whether it's the first or second round of the draft or free agency. So at that point, Amon-Ra's ADP is going to plummet, and that's when, if I were you, I would be jumping all over him. And that's where maybe I could have the same argument for Hawkinson too.
Well, that could be right. Is that player someone on the older side, young free agent? It's not going to be for all the money if they're not ready to win. But sure, there could be somebody in between there that works and seems like a part of the long-term plan. That's the only kind of player they would pick. I like for the Lions, I like a quarterback in round 2, given what this year sounds like. And then they can transition from Goff next year and maybe be just as good right away, which for their skill guys would be nice. I mean, they are starting to get some pieces, and if they do what you said, they'll become even more interesting. So rounds 1 to 6, some preferences. That's good. All right, we'll be back on Thursday night. The deep end this year going twice a week with our high stakes focused early draft show on Tuesday, and then Thursday is more of a dynasty show. We'll figure that out, and it'll even have a new logo.
Oh yeah, we always want a new logo around these here parts.
Same Sharks, different logo starting on Thursday.
Can't wait. It's going to be the deep end officially. I mean, dynasty is the right. Deep end. A wise guy said that one time.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching, and we will see you Thursday night, same time.